Hello there. It's Chef Cutter Diamond with a very special YouTube video for you. Today is Friday, November the 4th, 2016. So you'll be wondering, what am I doing? Am I doing Cutter Top 10? Nope, I am waiting till Monday to do my top 10s again. Also, I've got other stuff on my mind. I have to head to ODSP and tell them what progress I've made with stuff. So, get the check, get bus tickets because I'm running low again. Worry about Christmas presents, so gotta think about that soon. Not really anything else I need to think about. So anyway, this isn't, well, yes, it's partially about me. By the way, ironic as it sounds, that this video is going to be on my mom's 65th birthday. My mom turned 65 tonight, so good old Diamond is 65. Now, I know her official first name is like Diana, like the Paul Anka song, but people call her Diane, so that's how I go for it. So anyway, yeah, I called my mom, my brother called my mom, my sister called my mom, so yeah, it's happy. There's going to be a lot of milestone birthdays coming up soon. A couple of months, my aunt turned 60, and then my dad turned 70 in February, so next February. So, yeah, your milestone birthdays abound, baby. So anyway, today is Friday, November the 4th. It's a very special day, not just because it's my mom's birthday, but because it unofficially marks 10 years since I officially got into the Zellers family. Now, people say it's October 28th or whatever you want to call it. But I don't go by Zellers' date. I go by my date because I could have lost my chance after the second 2-week trial. I had a 2-week trial in late September, failed. And then they needed people for seasonal, so they asked me to do it again for 2 more weeks. Which I did. So yeah, so I was awfully nervous and all that. Of course, I hadn't worked any major jobs before then. It's strange how you're 21 and that's your first major job ever. I didn't really get employment much when I was a teenager because, well, when you live on a farm and all that, you really don't have work opportunities. And it's strange, it took me more than 2 years after moving from Plattsville to Kitchener to get a major job. But anyway, I do want to say that my brother Edward was behind this thing unintentionally, because Edward wanted me to get a job. Edward wanted me to get disability support so that I can earn some money and all that. So yeah, so I got the disability support, and then that led me to Job Track, which gave me the Zellers job. They told me about that in September. Ironically, that was the first day of college in my 3rd year of 2006. So basically, I went there and they told me Zellers was going to take a flyer. So anyway, and Zellers had a good track record with hiring people with disabilities. So yeah. I know I had my job coach Krista with me on the thing, and the second job interview, I remember I gave some kind of answer, like I think it was, what do you intend to do with Zellers and all that, and then all I say was that I can't remember what I completely said, but anyway, Krista said we never discussed that, basically saying that those were my words, and I thought of it off top of my head. So anyway, my first year of being at Zellers, well, I was supposed to be in just a seasonal hire and then let go in January, like most of them. But they saw some promise in me and said, you know what, we can work around his college schedule. So yeah, that's what they did. So basically, I worked at Zellers. I actually had a manager change, like a head cheese. Don't make a joke about that. Change in January of 2007, 2 months after I went, because I was in. So Jeff Weirmeyer went from Kitchener to Guelph, and then we got Tracy from where the heck did she? London, I think Tracy came from. So anyway, Tracy was my manager, my boss, from January 2006 to the bitter end. I got to meet a lot of interesting people in Zellers. Zellers 288, as we call it. There were some good, honest people, like Renee, Jen, Ellen, Mabel, Helen, Who else was there from the start, since I started in 2007? Caitlin, shoot. I'm missing a lot of people. Faizun, the two Dianes, Lori, Hunter, Lori's store. Yeah, the list goes on and on. Andrea, well, Andrea left near the end. So anyway, so yeah, my main goal was just to be on the floor to help with customer service, do returns and all that. Make sure everything's clean and front face and all that. Nothing too dangerous. I have had customer issues, good and bad. So yeah, so that was a huge thing. So yeah, but the good outstretched the bad. My first year, I made a lot of errors with like store, what's it called? Store policies and all that, and I nearly got myself canned. I would have understood. I flaunted a few things, but of course I was just learning, so although there's no excuse. So anyway, my supervisor was named Gloria, but then she left for Waterloo, Bridgeport store a year after I came in. So December 2007, I believe she left, and then we got Fida from that store. So it was like a trade, or Fida came from Conestoga Mall. I can't remember. I'm so sorry. I didn't know a lot of my supervisors at that time. Well, I'll get to the 6 supervisors that I was used to and all that later on. Yeah, so I was basically the gopher, if you will. A few things you don't know about me is that I actually never went to a Christmas party for Zellers until the bitter end. Well, of course, there was a party a month after we shut down for good, but I never went. I could have had opportunities. I had a few opportunities which I was entitled to, but I said no. I said, basically, my role was to help Zellers, and you don't know. There could be a whole stack of people coming in when the Christmas party is in. A few times I was never thanked for sacrificing myself for the good of this Christmas party, but that's okay. So basically I worked during the Christmas parties. I didn't really do a lot of social things. I got into the SAC, the Zellers Associates Council, like to plan events and all that. That was 2010. I decided to throw my name in the hat, and I actually won a spot on SAC. I spent 1 year there. I think you were only allowed 1 year, and then you had to go. One and done. But anyway, yeah, I arranged it. My moment in SAC was arranging a what did they call it? Mint patties thing for National Service Dogs, because my aunt worked with National Service Dogs at the time, and that was during the 2010 FIFA World Cup. I remember that because I almost put my priorities out of whack. I was supposed to be at Zellers a couple hours before my shift to help set up for this giveaway thing, and then all of a sudden I was entranced on England-Algeria, and I should never have had it. I was worried that England was going to lose when I wasn't around. England tied Algeria, and the strange thing about that is when England played Slovenia, I ended up working the Wednesday morning, and I was nervous because I knew England had to win or else they were going to be knocked out of the World Cup. And then, strange as it sounds, I didn't work the following Sunday when England played Germany in the second round. I didn't watch that game either because, I figured England was going to get their butts handed to them by Germany, and I was right. Regardless, there were a lot of changes through the years from 2006 to 2013. Had a whole lot of store layout change because once you walked into the store, you had the cash registers, and then you just go on the small aisle. On the right-hand side was the Zellers restaurant. It was there from the beginning. My store actually opened in 2002. It was in a new development because the Laurentian Power Center was just farmland. So basically, that opened in 2002. I lasted 7 years there. It only was there for 4 years before I moved it, before I did it, and then 6 years later. So I spent more time at that place than didn't. But I digress. So anyway, yeah, I was good. It was always good, bad, and ugly with me. It just depended on my mood, I guess. There were a couple of times in which I Should have been a better worker, but, you know, things happen for a reason, I guess. I mean, there are things I regret. I regret not taking charge a lot. I'm not really a take charge guy, like a leader and all that. I'm usually a follower. Because when I'm a leader, I sometimes stumble over my own self-worth. So basically, yeah, I wasn't really that good. But there were a lot of times I helped out, even in the back, like taking stuff, like food. I was pretty much in charge of like food on the weekends, like basically just making sure that the right food came out, and of course rotate and blue ticket when I have to. I admit that sometimes I didn't rotate the milk and all that, but then there was new policy and I followed it, knowing that my butt was out the door. I know for a fact that, oh fuck, how many years was it? 2009 or 2010 was it? Around New Year's, that Tracy left Zellers for the first time and went to London, and you know, and then from the time she left till the time she decided to come back, I think it was 3 to 6 months. It was terrible. The new boss and the supervisor that came with the change, I really couldn't handle it. They didn't have a clue about me at all. Basically, I was within inches of just storming out and leaving because I didn't like their managerial regime and all that. And as the old song goes, you don't know what you have till it's gone. So I figured that Tracy was better than I thought. I have issues with leaders and all, leadership, people in leadership positions. I've had this for a long time. I think all my life. That's the one thing that ticks me off, is that I have trust issues, and I know I do. That's why I don't have a girlfriend, because I feel like I'm going to be stalkerish and just trying to take every step to make sure she doesn't cheat on me and all that. But anyway, this isn't about that. So basically, Tracy came back, and basically I got better acquainted with her and all that. I don't make an excuse, because I know people with autism have a tough time with management and authority figures, but I do not accept that. It was my own stupidity, and basically I got better the second time around. I got more happy with them. But anyway, so yeah, I was there till the end. In April of 2012, I was told that it was going to be gone by January. And my last day was actually supposed to be the end of December, because the last 2 weeks were going to be management just taking over the store and do everything. But it's like, no, they can't do it. So I remember it was near the end. It was like November, and then they said, well, we're going to be extending people's contracts to the bitter end, like for a couple of weeks. They approached me and said, would you like to stay the final 2 weeks? Of course I would. I took it. I took what I freaking could get. So basically, that was all I needed. You know, working and all that. I was doing pretty well, like keeping afloat of things. Excuse me. There were a few things I bought that were nice, and a few things I should never have touched. But, you know, whatever happens, happens. So basically, yeah, the SAC committee, we did a bowling thing. What else was it? We planned for the Christmas party. I refused to go. Yeah, it was 2010, because I remember the next day, on the Sunday, I was taking a 9 to 4 shift or something like that, like a 7.5 hour shift, and I literally was not feeling well. I was fine on Saturday, but then woke up terrible, and I couldn't call in sick because there's the 4-hour policy that Zellers told us you have to call 4 hours before your shift, which ticked me off, because I mean, like, who's going to be at the phones at 5:30 in the freaking morning? So basically, I went to work and all that. I know that there were times I should have just left the floor and just called it a day because I was sick and all that, but I hung around. I don't know how I did that. You know, God knows. Yeah, I was sick a couple of times at work. I refused to call in. Well, the 4-hour rule, and it's like, well, I feel fine, and then I just feel weary, like less than 4 hours before my shift. So So basically what I did was that, you know, I worked through this. I was just trying to make sure I could do whatever I could and all that. I had a habit not to tell anyone that I was suffering, like sick and all that, because I was worried that, you know, they would put me upstairs. But anyway, I did what I could. So anyway, yeah. I mean, my attendance was pretty good. I never took a sick day, official sick day, even though it was part-time. I know I was late a couple of times. There was one time because the bus got late coming to Conestoga College, and of course I took that bus to Forest Glen Plaza, take the Ottawa South bus right to Zellers. I got away with that. And there was one time I screwed up my timing right near the end of, I think, the second last week. I thought I was working at 11 a.m. when it was starting at 10. But all the boss said was, "Can you stay an extra hour?" I said, "Yeah." And she said, "I know." I think she gave me leeway because I'm never late. I'm usually never late. Well, I always biked to work. One big difference between Zellers and Target was that at Zellers you could actually ride your bike in the store. Well, right, there was an area that had bikes, and you could park your bike inside. So that's what I did. I parked my bike inside and all that. Biked it. I was stupid to bike sometimes in the winter when I should never have, because I always destroyed my bike. All I know is that I was stupid. But, you know, biking to work was about 12 to 15 minutes, depending on traffic and the red lights. So, yeah. And, of course, one famous story I say is that I was working, I was going to do my, thing in 2000, my radio show in 2011, and all of a sudden, of course, I was thinking, oh, hockey players who died, and of course, because in 2011, there were 3 hockey enforcers who passed away. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll do a tribute show to them. And then all of a sudden, this locomotive hockey accident happened. And, of course, I had a topic. So, in a weird way, that's strange. That was good. In a weird way, of course. So basically, that was all. I know I should have more memories of Zellers, but I don't. Anyway, so at the end, we had 6 supervisors. Oh, yeah, Trish was a supervisor at Zellers who left for another store, I think early 2007, I don't know, when, 2007 or 2008. But anyway, I had 6 supervisors who stuck it out at the end. 2 males, 4 females. So I had Doug, who came in, I can't remember, 2007, 2008. He came in, he stayed for a long time, he former Army guy, had a wife, had 2 daughters, you know. He was a decent guy and all that. There was Yamel, who came to our store, I think like 08, 09, and then he left, came back, left, came back, left. It was like, is he staying for good? Last 6 months, I think he came for good. Good. And then 4 females, well, there was Fida, who worked in HR a lot. She came in like 2007. I remember that I was on break one day in 2007, one of her first days. And of course, Fida at the time had the long hair, and you know, I introduced myself and all that, saying, "Oh, you're new. Hi, I'm Jeff. Free." And all that. I know she changed to a short haircut, which suited her. Of course, you got Tracy, the manager, the person I was really scared of, because Tracy had kind of a look on her that was scary and all that, and I took her seriously. I really freaking did. I know she kind of didn't like me always trying to sneak around her, try to walk on eggshells around her, but you know, that's the way I was. I was worried about getting in her way. Then there was Marie, who I didn't fall under. She wasn't really my supervisor for a long time. Well, she was supervisor of the store, but I usually didn't have to follow her orders. Well, she was in fashion, for one. And number 2, there was always someone else. But, yeah. And then, of course, Vicky, who was the only supervisor who stayed from the start of the store in 2002 all the way to the bitter end. She was there the whole time. So, yeah, good old Vicky. I know she's in Washington right now. She's showing some pictures. She's only 12 years older than I am, because I asked her age and all that. I think it was years ago, like 6 years ago, 7. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, my camera was fading out. That's why I was hesitant. So Vicky, of course, when Gloria left, Vicky was pretty much my caretaker, if you fucking will. And you know, she was nice and all that. But the one thing I hated about Vicky was she called me hun. And I mean, in my mid-20s, and you call a guy hun? That still ticks me off to this day. It still haunts me. Anyway, yeah, I got to know a lot of hardline people, and they got to trust me. The only downside was there was no major male hardline associate, like working on the floor, that stayed a long time. I know Arthur left after a year, but I think he was the only major guy. Well, Daniel left, too. I think he lasted a couple of years before I came in, and then it was a year after I came back. So yeah, so basically, at times, like 60% of my time, I think I was the only male hardline associate on the floor. Well, I know Greg was there for a year, which was great, because he helped fix my bike when I had to have my bike repaired for riding it too hard, tee. So yeah, I got to know a lot of people. I'm friends with a lot of people. Well, you know, Katie, Hong, good grief, Holly. Yeah, I'm friends with some of the Facebook people and all that from Zellers. I know a few of them have knocked me off Facebook, but they're lost. So anyway, yeah. So it's been a long time, 10 years. And I could have blown it, my opportunity. I knew I screwed up with a customer and I hung over my freaking head the whole day. But I managed to pull through. How? I don't freaking know. Yeah, and then of course, if you watch my Zellers farewell thing, you know, I made a speech near the end and all that. Started crying, of course. The perfect ending was Tracy saying that you were one of my favorites and all that. I knew she had a thing for me. No, not like that. Anyway, yeah, and then thanks to Zellers, I got the automatic job interview for Target. Past that, I got there for a year and a half. I would have still been there. I would have still been at Target to this day and enjoyed myself. I think they made me a little looser because I was a nervous freaking wreck at Zellers and all that. They made me loosen up a little bit. They loosened up a bit, so I got a good vibe from them. I should have loosened up at Zellers too, but you know, I was tense and all that. I was young, and now I'm in my 30s. Now here's a few stats that will get my blood boiling, but hopefully not yours. Here's the funny thing. As you know, I'm a Toronto Maple Leafs fan, also a New York Rangers fan, and I'm a Toronto Blue Jays fan. Here's the funny thing. I have never worked at any time when the Blue Jays and or the Leafs made the playoffs. Now let me explain. The Leafs, we all know, made the playoffs in 2013. But here's the creepy thing. Everyone lost their job on Monday, January 14th, 2013. That was after my brother's 37th birthday, the day after. But here's the funny thing. The NHL shortened season that year in 2013 didn't start till the Saturday, 5 days later on the 19th. And the Leafs fell on Monday, May 13th, 2013. Ironically, the next day was Target orientation day. So yes, I didn't officially start Target. I was hired, but I officially started Target orientation Tuesday, May the 14th, 2013. So basically, I wasn't with Zellers or Target when the Leafs went to the playoffs. It's that one time since I moved to Plattsville. When the Toronto Blue Jays, of course, well, you know, 93, they made the World Series, they won the World Series, and then 2015, they finally make the playoffs. I haven't found work since March of 2015, which ticks me off. I've had like 10 to 12 interviews. I have to get the full number on the TV screen one of these days. So yeah, I have never had a job in which the Blue Jays were in the postseason. Well, the Patriots, I don't think they won a Super Bowl when I was at Zellers. Did they? No, they never did. Because the Patriots, when they won the 4 Super Bowls, were 2002, 2004, 2005, and 2015. I never worked at the Patriots never won the Super Bowl when I was at Zellers. Twice they went to the finals, but They did win the Super Bowl when I was at Target, so that's good. And my fourth team is Toronto Raptors, and I know they've made the playoffs a couple times in the late 2000s when I was at Zellers. So yeah, that was funny. And the funny thing is, the Raptors, they've only won 3 playoff rounds in the history. I haven't held a job when they've been to the playoffs. I mean, won a playoff round, which is creepy. So yeah, I'm still looking for work. Unfortunately, I got a couple of rejections, and stores don't even call you and say, "Oh, you failed." You know, and it's like, okay, well, what did I do wrong? I could do that, but I can't be a nuisance and all that. I'm not really an offensive person because I'm afraid that something's going to go wrong, and they're going to take things wrong. So anyway, yeah. I think I better wrap this up. This is very long and all that. I was falling asleep myself. So anyway, yeah, a nice November 4th. Hopefully I find something in the next few weeks. So yeah, that's it for me. Just watch my YouTube videos on my channel. My suggestion is look at the playlists before you try to look for a video, because I've had so many videos on the thing. So anyway, that's all for tonight. Wish you a happy adieu.